Coming to you from the city that has more people residing in it than in 39 out of the 50 states, it's Ventriloquism Weekly. My name is Matt Bailey, and it is so good to be with you here again on a Monday in the middle of the month, Monday, October 13th. Why mention the date? Because 13 is Michael Night's favorite number. As our guest today, Night is a comedy magician and hypnotist who recently returned to ventriloquism. When combining all of these talents together, he performs a show that's over 2.5 hours in length. But that's not what makes Michael special. What makes his story special is Knight's ability to overcome some of the worst obstacles life can throw at you. His journey of perseverance on and off the stage is truly touching. Here now, to share how making other people laugh teaches him to enjoy life, our interview with Michael Night. Michael Night, welcome to Ventriloquism Weekly. How are you today, sir?
I am doing great. How about you, buddy?
I am great. Thank you for being here. This is going to be so much fun.
Oh, definitely.
So, I want to begin at the beginning. You do so much in your show, so I'm just going to ask, how did you begin in entertainment, and how did you happen upon ventriloquism in that?
As a kid, actually, the first thing I got was I want to say it was called a talking Willie doll. My mom got it for me one time for Christmas. And I found out, it had to be about fourth grade, that on Fridays, if we did a program, we didn't have homework. So I would put together a little program every Friday and do a little show. And it would take me a week to write it, and then I would do the program. And later on, I just figured out that it was probably more work doing that than it was do the homework. But after that, I ended up breaking the string on it. So I kind of put it away and forgot about it. And I ended up in a band and played drums in a band. And we were supposed to do a presentation at school. And the other guys kind of wanted to, they were kids. And we're I think like, fifth grade maybe. And, they wanted to go out and play compared to practice. So I tried to get out of it, and the teacher wouldn't let me. So I thought, well, I know a couple of magic tricks. I went in and did some magic tricks and basically fell in love with performing then. And pretty much been doing it ever since. So, I've kind of done anything from the birthday parties, the restaurant stuff, to, trade shows, to big stage shows. I've kind of done it all.
That's wonderful. And where did ventriloquism come back into it after the band?
Actually, that happened just a couple years ago. December 5th, 2010, I was working, doing a bunch of club dates, and I decided after the last show that I wanted to drive home instead of staying another night in a hotel. And as I was driving home, I got probably 10 minutes from my house. I fell asleep at the wheel, and I ran into a large metal pole that holds up a McDonald's thing. And the clown still doesn't talk to me, by the way. But I ended up breaking both legs, shattered my ankle, broke 5 ribs, had internal damage.
Oh, my word.
They called my family and told my family I had a 20% chance to live and I would never walk. And actually today I'm still walking on 2 broken legs. For all this time. They're a non-union. But I had so much time off. I had about a year to where I had this cage on my right ankle and leg. And I was just going through some videos, watching stuff on YouTube, and I was watching Jeff Dunham, and I just fell in love with the stuff that he did. And it kind of brought me back into, when I did it as a kid. And then I come across Tom Crow. And so I sent Tom a letter and told him, basically what happened to me. And the guy was so extremely nice. He sent me his course for free.
Wow.
And that's what I started practicing it. I didn't even have a dummy or anything. I just started practicing it. And so, big thanks to Tom for being kind enough to do that.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. That's wonderful.
And then after that, since then I picked up a few dummies, and I do like the mask during the nightclub show and stuff like that. And so it's turned out to be a really, really popular part of the show.
That's wonderful. And you do hypnotism as well. Can you talk about how you blend the magic, the ventriloquism, the hypnotism? How do you put that show together and create something unique and different?
Yeah, it's a really, I've never seen a show quite like it. I'm my own opening act. So I come out and I come out doing kind of like a mixture of the comedy magic, and then I put the ventriloquism into that part of the show, and the full show runs about 2.5 hours,
Oh, cool.
and so I do that for usually about an hour or so, and then from that I open it up for volunteers to come up and get hypnotized, and so it's a really unique kind of show that it really blends together really nice.
So it's two distinct sections of a show rather than sort of all melting potted. I don't know how to speak today. Just put put together in one sort of form. It's two distinct sections of the show.
Yeah, it's basically it. It's more or less you got like the kind of like the comedy magic ventriloquism section, and then then it turns into the hypnosis part that kind of really is a monster in its own right.
Right, right. So now the question saying that it's 2.5 hours. We talk about a lot of times club dates and theater dates that maybe want a 90-minute or a 45-minute show or a 30-minute spot.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of venue books a like Broadway length 1-man 2.5 hour show?
A lot of the ones that I do I'm kind of taking over, basically nightclubs or bars, stuff like that, and going in and doing it all myself. And a lot of times I'll have some opening acts with me too, so it ends up, being a pretty big production. But one thing I want to end up doing is I want to get into more of the bigger theaters. It's kind of like my goal now is to try something, at a lot larger scale. But right now it's just more, different nightclubs, and it's almost a comedy club kind of show, but just a little more juiced up and a lot more energy.
Right, and it's adult humor, right?
This one is. I mean, I've done it all. I do like the after proms and the clean shows, and so I can work the whole gauntlet of it. But the one I guess I'm most famous for and really enjoy is the adult style. But I mean, I don't really like to get vulgar with it.
Right.
There's a few spots that's more adult humor, but I've seen some guys just get real nasty, and I really don't care for that. But I think you can be funny without kind of beating the audience up with it.
And I love talking about that line. Where is that line that it's for the adults and they get it, but you're not offending anybody and it's not toilet humor?
Yeah, and it's kind of a hard line to learn. I mean, it took me quite a while to kind of figure it out. But and every audience is different. I mean, the nice thing is that the audiences that are paying to see me, they kind of know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a whole lot of attitude on stage. But I mean, well, you remember me. I'm 6'4" and 390 pounds. So when I walk in the room, and it plays on stage too. It's funny. Everybody thinks I'm the bouncer until I get up on stage.
It's great. Well, a commanding presence, and that's important.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it as a joke. You have to learn how to own a room, and that's kind of what you're touching on there.
Yeah, it took me a long time to kind of figure that out. I used to be rather timid on stage, and especially when I first started, I was trying to be, basically the next David Copperfield.
Right.
And then I finally, I got to the point where I realized that, I was more of a funny guy than, the big illusion guy. Mm-hmm. And so once I kind of found, my little spot, then it really opened everything up for me. But and that's the nice thing about ventriloquism too, is that, because to look at me, you don't think I'd be the kind of guy playing with dolls, but it works really well, and people just go crazy for it.
Yeah, they do, and it's interesting. Now I'm at a point with my show where I'll open with something magic, and it's weird how it evolves around the show. Sort of evolves around the ventriloquism. This happened without me even noticing it. I'll do a trick and some jokes at the beginning, an effect at the beginning, and then I have 3 vent things in a row, and then and some stupid non-trick jokes in the middle there, and then a trick to close, and that's my 45-minute set. How has your show sort of evolved over the last couple of years as ventriloquism has come into the act?
Well, for a long time, I was trying to get all of that out of it. I wanted just to do the hypnosis, and I thought that's more what people were coming to see. And I found the more I took out, the more they asked for it. And so kind of put it all back in again. And then once I started doing the ventriloquism, I was just amazed that it kind of exploded. The first thing I did on stage was with doing the mask and getting somebody up out of the audience. And I'm kind of known for having a lot of people on stage with me doing stuff. And I'm pretty good at kind of right off the cuff kind of stuff too. So it always, you never really know where it's going to go. But as soon as I did that, I was really scared to do it the first time. A lot of times I work on stuff forever before I put it on stage, and I kind of forced myself to do it with the mask, and was really impressed and just extremely happy how it kind of played. And ever since then, it's just it's gotten now I'm doing I've got one guy that's kind of like a drunk, and he kind of looks like a biker kind of guy, and like for the arm stick, I mean the stick looked like a broken bone that's sticking out of his arm. And so he plays extremely well with everything. And then I've also got a little smart aleck baby.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of funny how it's all just kind of mixed together. But, I don't even think I could take them out of the show now because, so many people expect it and want to see it.
Right. And you say, you touched on something with it all being mixed together and not being sort of removable. I mean this is a question. I don't mean this is anything other than just a question, because it's something I'm curious and I face too. How does somebody book you into a venue when you do so much? Because I do two things. I'm not just one thing. You do three things. How does somebody book you?
It's hard to exactly. It's really hard to explain what I do, and I try to tell people that you just have to kind of see it.
Right.
Because I get a lot of guys that, we've had a magician before, we've had a ventriloquist before, it didn't work. And, so I haven't explained to them, just because, if you get a burnt pizza, you still order another pizza, don't you?
Yeah.
And it's like, once they see the show, they go crazy for it. But I've had a hard time kind of, when people ask me, it's like, it's really hard to explain. And even to hear the fans talk about it, it's funny to listen to them. And
okay, how would they describe you?
A lot of times, just kind of like a crazy, wild. I had a radio station wanted to do a blurb, and they wanted 10 words to describe the show, and I kind of put it out to the fans, and it was funny just the stuff that was coming back. But it was just that kind of stuff that just exciting and unique, and it's really interesting how people because when you do it yourself, you kind of see it on your side.
Yeah.
So it's nice to hear what other people are thinking about it.
Yeah, and it's humbling too, isn't it, to hear people?
Oh, it is.
It's just like, oh, okay, guess I'm doing something right.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the bad part is because I'm coming up, the tour I'm on right now is the Break a Leg tour, and I'm getting ready I finally found a surgeon that's going to try to fix the legs.
Oh, cool.
And like I said, they're called a non-union. The damage is so bad that the bones basically closed up and they can grow back together if I'm walking on broken bones.
Oh.
And so I'm going to go in. I'm hoping to hear any day when I go in for the surgery. But so that's the bad part is that I'll basically be out of commission for over a year. So the fans are kind of freaking out about that.
Right. But the thing of that is then after you have that surgery, you can come back and you can just pound the pavement 10 times harder than you have before, because that's the point.
Exactly. Yeah, because I had to really kind of redesign the show, and I mean it kills me to be on stage now. The pain is just outrageous. So it's the only reason I really decided to do it is just for the fact of once it's done, I'm hoping the pain won't be as bad, and just to be able to go back on tour like I used to.
Right. Well, if you don't mind talking a little bit about that, just perseverance on stage. You're talking about working through physical pain on stage. How do you learn that? Is that just innate in a lot of entertainers? Because you find that sometimes that you just work through so much on stage and you just do the show no matter what. So
yeah, it's a really good question. I mean, I don't know why.
Right.
I think it's just we feed for that energy that we get from the crowd, and it's like for the year or better than I was off. I mean, I was just going crazy. I just missed making people laugh, and So that's, I think, a friend of mine, Tom Mullica, does a routine where he eats cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
And he says he can't do it to practice it because it hurts. The only time he can do it is when, he's in front of an audience. And I think that's what it is. It's just, it's, your adrenaline's going and you're having a good time. And so, I'm not sure, I think it makes us an odd group, but it,
Yeah.
It's kind of strange, but it does. Because the pain will be, I'll sweat like crazy just because the pain is so outrageous, but, I'll keep going. I've done it where I've passed out after I've gotten off stage.
Yeah.
And, but, it's something that as long as I can keep going, I'm going to keep doing it.
Man, that is a story of perseverance right there. That's incredible, and I think a lot of people can learn from that. And I just hope that you can get that you'll have that surgery and everything will be so much better for you, and you'll be able to enjoy your time on stage that much more.
And that's one thing I got to really say too, is that so many of my entertainer friends just really, kind of stood up for me, because it's kind of an odd story. I lost my youngest son. He was 16 years old.
Oh my word!
And he had a brain aneurysm. And then shortly after that, I lost my father, then my brother. Then I had the car wreck that almost killed me. And then 2 years after my car wreck, my oldest son, Mike Jr., took his life. And so a lot of people are like, how can you even think about getting back on stage? And I actually did quit for a while after my first son. I didn't think I could be funny anymore. And but it just gets, it's really something that's inside us that, I think we're just meant to do. And I'm not happy unless I'm up there doing what I do.
And I think it's a fundamental human connection is the ability to laugh. I was reading an article. Jeff Dunham was at a fair back home in PA, and somebody shared it on Facebook, and he said, I went around the world and I discovered that we all laugh at the same things. It really is what connects us.
It is, and that's, because I noticed that too, between, from corporate shows to after Browns, where it's all teenagers, to the nightclub shows. It's like, it's basically all the same stuff that they're laughing at. And, it's just the tweak that you put on it that makes it dirty or clean or whatever. But, and then I think that's what, makes a good entertainers, that no matter where you're at or what kind of venue it is, that, once you realize what works and what makes people laugh, that's really pays off.
It's wonderful. That's just such wonderful insight too. And I think we're all called to it because we all understand that we need laughter in this world.
Oh yeah, definitely. And and that's one thing too that I was amazed when this happened, is how many of the guys kind of went out of their way to even just to call to see how I was doing. I had some cover shows for me because I've never missed shows before. I would perform deathly ill and I would still perform, but. And then, guys that just went out of the way. I don't know if you know Michael Finney. He's a comedy magician.
Yes.
And he did a lecture, and everything that he made on the lecture, he had somebody bring to me just to help me out, because at the time, I wasn't working.
Wow.
And it's just an incredible thing that how entertainers will kind of really help each other. And because you always hear about, somebody stole this show or somebody, took this line. But when it comes down to it, they're all good people, and they all try to help each other.
Exactly. And so that's a perfect lead-in to what I like to close with, because I'm just so curious now. What do you want to see from the entertainment community? What's missing? What do you hope comes up next in this wonderful art form of being able to make people laugh and keep them happy?
I would really like to see just more respect, both from performers and from the public. I don't get it as much as I used to, but it used to be people would what do you do what for a living? You can really make a living doing that.
Yeah.
So I think and even just for the one guy just won America's Got Talent. We finally got a magician that won.
Yes, I saw that.
Ventriloquist that won. So I think that the more that we can kind of get it out of where people think that it's just a hobby, and show that it's the extreme profession that people work years to perfect. And, I just think that would be the best way to kind of keep everything going.
And that is a wonderful way to bring this to a wrap. Michael Night, wonderful talking to you. Such
Well,
wonderful
thank you.
stories of perseverance, and just keep going. I wish you all the best with your surgery and with the Break a Leg tour. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you again to Michael. Your openness and candor about your personal story were greatly appreciated. I know I speak for my listeners as well as myself when I say we wish you nothing but the best. Again, a touching story and an inspiring gentleman. That's it for us this week. Next week, cruise ship entertainer Mark Merchant joins us to talk about entertaining at sea. Reminder, you can find all you need to know about Ventriloquism Weekly by visiting our website, or what I like to call the mothership, ventriloquismweekly.com. Anything and everything VW. Reach out by emailing ventriloquismweekly@gmail.com and find our group on Facebook by searching Ventriloquism Weekly -podcast for ventriloquists. Tweet us at Talk4Two. From New York, signing off for Ventriloquism Weekly, I'm Matt Bailey, reminding all you vents out there to keep talking for two.